Hello and welcome to the Therapy Business School. My name is James Taylor. I'm a counsellor, hypnotherapist and life coach with my own private practice. This channel is to help you not make some of the mistakes I did in either your existing private practice or your pending private practice. Alright, so let's get into what this one's about. In last week's episode, and I'll put the link up here for it, it was talking about how to begin a therapy session either with a brand new client or you're seeing a client for a few times and they've come back, and how to start the sessions off again. All right. Now, I realized that when I was making that video, I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about echoing and summarising and phrasing and paraphrasing what clients are saying. So that's what this is all about. So let's get into it. Now, this is such a powerful tool. Don't let the simplicity of it fool you, because this can almost make you appear a mind reader in the eyes of your client. And of course you're not. You're just using some therapeutic tools. So I want to talk about echoing, paraphrasing and summarising. And I'll probably blend and mix and match and give a few examples. Okay. So let's say that a client is with you, either in person or online. This works both. And the client gives a long explanation about what's going on for them. So let's just add a bit of context so this makes sense. Let's say a client is in a job they don't like, and they don't like the boss they're working for, and they want to get another job, but there's some doubt whether the new job will pay the same as the old job, and they've got bills. So imagine if that's like the context or the theme. Now, as the client is talking to you about this, they may give you lots of information, and you can paraphrase and do like a little summary in that. So your summary could be, okay, so you're in a job you don't like your boss, and really you're saying that you'd like to leave your job and get another one, but you're just unsure whether financially you can make it work. Have I got that right? Now, I'll intentionally myself end with have I got that right, just to make sure. All right. So you're taking all that data and you're compressing it down for the salient points to get some clarity. Now, you're not dismissing other things the clients are saying. You're just getting some clarity on this point. Now, if you are on the money with this, the client will say, yeah, that's it. Now, if you're asking the client how they're feeling about it, and you're going further down the rabbit hole with this, and they're talking about, there might be fear, there might be stress, there might be anxiety, it might be causing problems in their relationship, okay, their personal relationship. So again, you can do the same kind of thing. Okay, so you're saying that it's causing you stress, it's causing you problems with your partner, you say you're suffering with anxiety, all these things together. Is that right? And there is that right again. So you're doing a lot of summarising. Now, with the echoing, this is where a client may say something and you echo the words back to them. Now, this is quite an important one, because when you say something, you hear it. And in fact, just diving off slightly, I don't know whether you've ever experienced this, where there might be something on your mind and you might talk to someone, not a therapist necessarily, but you may talk to someone about what this thing that's on your mind. And when you finish saying it, you know what you need to do. Have you ever experienced that? I have experienced that only recently as well. I was speaking to a friend on the phone. Can I pick your brains over something? I explained what the thing was. When I'd finished saying it, right, okay, I've sorted it now, thanks. My friend said, but I haven't said anything. I said, you didn't need to. I just needed to hear myself say it for me to be able to hear or figure out what my answer is. All right. So when you echo back to a client, you're giving this as a double whammy effect. So the client may say something like, I'm feeling really stressed. You're feeling really stressed? And they'll say, yeah, I'm feeling really stressed. Now, you're banking this. So now this feeling really stressed has had 3 goes at being put out into the ether, or in the room, so to speak. So this is quite powerful if the client is, in some regards, denying how they're feeling, or they're trying to put a brave face on, but they're not really talking about the feelings. Well, in this kind of setup, we're doing it like this. They've now heard it 3 times. They've heard themselves say it. They've heard you echo it back to them. and then they've reinforced it themselves. So now, a phrase that I quite like is, I like elephants. I love elephants. I just don't want one in the room with me. So with something like this, the elephant is now out there. We're both saying there's an elephant. We're not trying to pretend it isn't there, or hide or hope that it isn't there. So echoing is incredibly powerful. So when you start mixing and matching and blending these together, it can almost seem to the client as if you're a mind reader, especially if you start throwing a few subtle variations in. So if you were to say things like, and I'm saying you as in you, the therapist, if you were to say things like, well, that sounds like, or that seems as if, or when you said that, it made me think this, this, and this. So I'll give some context over this. So let's say a client is talking about this poor job they've got, don't like the boss, the fear of maybe getting a new job and the financial aspect, and there's some concern over this. Well, if you start echoing and paraphrasing and summarising and throwing a few of these extra ones in, it could sound something like, and I'm just thinking on my feet here, this isn't scripted at all, by the way. So it could be something along the lines of, okay, so you're saying that you want to leave your job, but there's a fear going on and you don't like your boss and it's causing problems in your relationship. And as you were saying that, it made me think about, how stressful that must be to be having all that going on at once. Because at the same time, what you really want to do, you were saying that you wanted to work somewhere else, but you're not too sure whether the money's going to work out. Have I got that right? Now, when you approach it like this, all you're really doing is echoing the client's words back to them. It's almost as if they heard it for the first time. And it can be, yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. That's really it. Well, that not only helps the client, it also builds up the therapeutic bridge or the therapeutic alliance. It makes the relationship stronger because now the client is thinking, you're really getting me. You're really understanding what I'm going through right now. Now, another thing that can happen is, another thing that you can point out to a client is if you do this echoing and summarising and paraphrasing, and a client says, that's it, that's really it. Why didn't I think of that before? That's this kind of thing. You can point out to a client, well, I just repeated your words that you said to me. And that can be powerful. And you just let that sentence just sit in the room. Because that can help a client realise that's right, actually. I did have the answer all the time. I just had to draw the answer out. All right. So this is a really, really good skill. And here's some homework for you if you want to practice it. Try this out for size. When you're chatting to different people who you bump into, and we're not talking clients, we're just talking, friends, family, work colleagues, whatever it might be. Try this out. When they say something, echo it back to them and see if they add more detail. But instead of echoing it back exactly as they said it to you, add a little inflection in your voice to turn it into a question. So it'll go something like this. Let's say you're talking with a friend and they say, I was watching this same program on the television last night. Now, if you said, you were watching it last night, that slight inflection, you're going to repeat the last few words they say in a sentence. Repeat them back to them. Add an inflection in your voice to turn it into a question and see if they then expand on the detail about what it was they were watching. It can be anything at all. Someone's talking about going on holiday. They want to go to Turkey, for instance. You want to go to Turkey? There's the inflection. Yeah, Turkey because of this, this and this. I've been there before. You've been there before. They're going to start telling you why they've been there before. This thing is so powerful. So again, don't let the simplicity fool you how powerful this can be. So that's going to be the homework, all right? In next week's episode of Therapy Business School, I'm going to be talking about alternatives to how does that make you feel, all right? So if you'd like to see what that's all about, do the like, the share and the subscribe on this video. I ask this every single episode. I know I do. The reason I ask it is because it tells YouTube that this content might be worth sharing around. All right. And also, if you share it to someone who you know, it might help them in a similar situation and help them with their clients. All right. Or if they're a student, help them with their studies. All right. So echoing, summarising, paraphrasing, it's like magic. So for the time being, I'll say bye-bye for now. This is James. Bye-bye.